Okay, so this morning I'm going to talk about being distracted and disengaged. So I have like enough material for like a sermon, so I'm going to have to like cut this down. But anyway, just to give you a backstory, in 2020, I pretty much stopped watching the news, as I'm sure many people did. And other people found other sources, and I tried, but it would still stress me out. So I just told Aaron at one point, I was like, just tell me if there's anything important. Like if World War III breaks out or something, then just come tell me. But otherwise, I don't want to know what's happening. And so I distracted myself. You know, I was busy with school, and Netflix became my best friend. Like at night. I didn't have time for Netflix, but at nighttime I watched some Netflix. So when I heard about the war happening in Israel and Palestine, like I started having a little bit of stress. And I woke up like, for 2 or 3 days in a row, I woke up with a song in my head, and I could not remember who it was, and I kept trying to find, like, Hillsong or somebody, and it ended up being this song I hadn't listened to for a couple years by Reba McEntire, of all people, with Justin Timberlake. And it says, it's like a Celtic song, and it says, "And after the sky is falling down, and after all the waters washed away, my love's the only promise that remains." And it reminded me of Isaiah 54:10, where it says, "Though the mountains be shaken and the hills be removed, yet my unfailing love for you will not be shaken." Some versions say, "But even then my faithful love for you will remain. My covenant of peace or blessing will never be removed or broken, says the Lord, who has compassion and mercy on you." So over the past month or so, I had 3 different sermons I was listening to online or whatever. They talked about being distracted and how Christians were not supposed to be distracted. And then I had a couple of them say, don't disengage. This is the time to press in. So I realized that's exactly what I was doing. And in counseling, we often tell people how to distract your mind, because when negative thoughts start coming in, we do these, we call them grounding techniques, where literally you're just looking at things, listening for things, anything to ground your brain and be distracted. But as Christians, we are to renew our minds, right? So this is what got my attention. So this was the last thing I was like, okay, Lord, I hear you. So I saw a clip from a message on Rhema Instagram, and the speaker said, if God is done with Israel, why is Jesus coming back to Jerusalem? He's not done with Israel. God's not interested in hurrying and wrapping this thing up as long as there's billions of souls that have opportunity to get saved. And this is the thing that really got my attention. He said, we need to change our thinking, get out of fear, and get into faith. And here's the mistake I think people are making. They are withdrawing from the battle. They're afraid of the devil. They're afraid of what's coming, and they're whining. Come and get us quickly, Jesus. Listen, I don't believe we're to check out. I don't believe we are to disengage from our society. I don't think we're supposed to pull back from the influence of the nations that we live in. We're the light of the world. We're the salt of the earth. We're the church that cannot be defeated. The gates of hell cannot prevail ever, ever, ever. And when he said that, I was embarrassed of how I've been acting. I was I all of a sudden got this image of me when the Israelites were fighting the Philistines, where it says in 1 Samuel, on hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. And whenever the Israelites saw Goliath, they all fled from him in great fear. And I thought that's exactly what I've been doing. I've been watching the news and just running in fear. And it also made me think of when the 12 spies went to Canaan and how they came back, and they're like, oh, these guys are too big. We can't defeat them. But in Numbers 14, the Lord said to Moses, how long will these people treat me with contempt? How long will they refuse to believe in me in spite of all the signs I perform for them? Oh, shoot. I was going to quote this Joyce Meyer thing. Sorry. I apologize. I was going to type it up last night, and then I was doing it at 9:30 at night, and I was like, I don't got time for that. Okay, so, so sorry. I know I have 4 minutes. Grace. Okay, so this is what she said. I read this yesterday, and I thought this is too good not to share. It is important that we learn to cast our care, but not our responsibility. So often we do just the opposite. We cast our responsibility but keep our cares. There's a difference between casting our care and being passive. We need to understand the difference. And then she talks about what our responsibility is as Christians, and it's to trust God and to pray. And I mean, there's a bunch of other things she talks about, but those are the two big things. So going back to Caleb silenced the people before Moses and said, we should go up there and take possession of the land, for we can certainly do it. And David said to the Philistine, you come against me with a sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. All those gathered here will know that it is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give all of you into our hands. That's what I got.